Hello everyone, welcome to Crazy Geeks and it's me Roshan Shrestha. On today's session we'll be talking about how to generate the multiplication table in C programming language. I believe I don't need to tell what it implies by multiplication table, but just for the sake of clarity let me tell this is what multiplication table generally looks like. This particular first number is going to remain constant, that is if we need the multiplication table of 2 it's going to be constant or fixed as 2, otherwise 3 and so on. And this particular parameter is going to be varied. It normally begins from 1 up to the upper limit, let's say up to 10, not accumulate. 2 times 10 equals 20. Obviously we'll be using asterisk, that is for multiplication or product. Now for this purpose I need to vary the value of some variable from 1 up to 10. This first value is going to remain constant. For now I won't be worrying much about the fixed value. I'm intending to use for loop for this one. Feel free to use any of the loop as per your preference or convenience. I'm going to begin it from 1 up to upper limit 10, and I'm going to increment the value of I by 1. Now let me straightforward display something like 2 times what integer percentage d equals what percentage d. Now first value is going to be the value of I, and second one is going to be the value of I times what 2. This way value of I is varied from 1 up to 10, 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 2 and so on. Let me introduce line break at the end for more clear view. Okay, let me build and run this one. Yeah, so far so good. This particular number is fixed number 2 in this case, and we have varied this value of I from 1 up to 10 and incremented by 1, and the final result is being carried out by this particular operation I times 2. Now if we need the multiplication table of 3, what we need to do is what we'll be copying and pasting this one. 3 times something equals what I times 3. Looks a bit silly, but quite operable for the moment. 3 times 1 and so on. Let's say we need to generate the multiplication table from number 2 to 10 or 20. Then we'll be copying and pasting the same content again and again, and that is against the concept of don't repeat yourself or dry. So we need to repeat this particular block is per our requirement, and for that we'll be using nested loop. In programming, nesting generally implies whenever we are using similar entity inside that particular entity, that is if we use another loop inside this particular loop, then that is going to be termed as nested loop. And the basic concept of nesting is let's say I equals 0, I is less than 3, and I plus plus, then for j equals 0, j is less than 2, and j plus plus. In this case outer loop is going to be executed 3 times on the particular value of I is 0, 1 and 2, and whenever that particular outer loop is executed, each and every time this inner loop is going to be executed completely. So let me check this one. Well, I'm declaring the variable here int. Okay, and let me write something like what printf slash t, j is percentage d, value of j, and in case of outer loop let me write something like outer I is integer number, value of I. Then let me build and run this one. Outer loop is being executed 3 times, I is 0, 1 and 2, and whenever this outer loop is executed once, the innermost loop is executed completely. This is the basic trick. Here what is going to happen here in this scenario is the value of I is going to be constant inside this particular loop, and we are going to access that particular value. Let's say we need to display the multiplication table from 2 up to 5. I'm going to use this particular value for first parameter, and second parameter, let's say beginning from 1 up to 10 and increment by obviously 1. Then printf, what we can do is integer times integer equals integer. First value is going to be the value of I, second one is going to be the value of what, j, and final result is going to be the value of product between I and j. Now after each execution, let's introduce line break. Now build and run this one. Okay, wonderful. Here the value of I is beginning from 2 up to what, 5, 2, 3 and so on. Similarly, the value of inner loop is beginning from 1 up to 10, and the final result is I times j. This is multiplication table of 2, 3, 4 and 5 and so on. Similarly, you can ask the user for exact number of multiplication table they want or need. Int num1 and num2, let's declare the variable this way. Printf enter the beginning number whose multiplication table you'll be needing, that is integer and num1. This is the beginning, and printf enter the ending number, that is what, last number whose multiplication table they are intending to receive. At first num1. Is it going to work this way? I don't know. Beginning number is not that one. Beginning number is this one, whose number they will be needing. Then this is what, the ending number. Let's try to generate the multiplication table of 2 and 3, or let's say 5 and 6. 5 is the beginning number, 6 is the ending number. Will be provided with multiplication table of two numbers, 5 and 6. Now user will be having the freedom of choosing the numbers whose multiplication table they will be needing. Okay, similarly you can take user input for this one, up to which number you want to display that particular table. I hope this one regarding the generation of multiplication table was pretty much helpful. I'll be catching you guys in next session with some more interesting stuff. Stay connected, stay safe. Thank you very much.